How's it going, everyone? It's me, it's Jinsula, and welcome to another Pokemon Go video. Alright, so Niantic finally did it. They are going to feature Litwick as the October Community Day Pokemon, and players are excited about it. I really do think this could be the best community day of this year, and there are so many reasons for it. I'm going to be talking about this in today's video, so let's roll the intro and get right into it. So in my most recent Pokemon Go discussion video, I talked about how poor community days have been in 2022. I pointed out how we really didn't get any good Pokemon this year other than Dino, and it felt like Niantic was straying away from any PvE-centric Pokemon and focusing specifically on PvP. I argued that this direction would alienate a vast majority of the Pokemon Go player base, which cared more about raiding instead of the Go Battle League. Well, it looks like that sentiment is about to change completely. One of the most anticipated community days ever since it debuted is of course the Ghost and Fire type Pokemon Litwick. A lot of players have been anticipating the release of this shiny, and they were looking forward to what the potential exclusive move would be for this Pokemon if it were to ever get a community day. Since we've exhausted all of the 2-stage evolution Ghost type Pokemon for community days, plenty of Pokemon Go players were predicting that Litwick would be the community day for this year's Halloween season. Well, thank goodness that Niantic delivered. While it's been a fairly lackluster year for community days, I'm incredibly excited that we are at least getting Litwick. Even though many would consider 2022 a bad year for community day Pokemon, myself included, we can at least appreciate that 2 specific community days that players have been wanting for years happened this year. But in any case, let's talk about Litwick. So, this Pokemon evolves into Chandelure, which is of course one of the best Fire type and Ghost type Pokemon in the game. The shiny form of this Pokemon is really unique and eye-catching as well. There's just nothing but positivity having this Pokemon for a community day, and it is likely going to be the one saving factor for Pokemon Go's community days this year. Real quick, let's take a look at what the details are behind this community day, because aside from Litwick itself, there's actually quite a lot of bonuses that you will want to utilize. Litwick Community Day is going to be happening on Saturday, October 15th from 2 o'clock p.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. local time. If you happen to live in an area with a lot of gyms and high raiding activity, then you could potentially extend this community day to 10 o'clock p.m. Considering that this is the debut of Shiny Litwick, you will probably want to utilize as much time as possible, so make sure you plan around that. The exclusive move that Chandelure will get is going to be the Ghost-type charge attack Poltergeist. Not too much has been revealed regarding this move, but it is going to deal 140 damage in both PvE and PvP. This indicates to me that it is going to be a 1-bar massive damage charge attack, which will likely elevate Chandelure to being a meta Ghost-type raid attacker. There is, of course, going to be a Community Day special research story through a purchase ticket, which you can also give to a friend. This will likely award you with a handful of premium items, as well as a few more Litwick with research IVs, so if you are willing to spend $1, this could be one that's actually worth it. Now let's get into the bonuses. This community day is going to be a candy bonus and experience bonus event. You will get 3 times the amount of experience for every Pokemon you catch, so if you are still grinding out the levels, then this is definitely a bonus you will want to utilize. Try to go for as many excellent curveball throws as you can, because that will net you an insane amount of experience. We will also be getting double the amount of candy per catch, and there will be double the chance of getting an XL candy. This is pretty big because Chandelure is definitely one of those Pokemon that you will want to max out. It's consistently one of the best Ghost type and Fire type raid attackers, so you won't want to miss out on this opportunity for XL candy. Now, aside from these 3 bonuses, we will see the regular slate of bonuses we see every community day. Lure modules and incense will last for 3 hours, you will get bonus Litwick spawns from snapshots, and you will have an additional special trade with a Stardust cost reduction of 50%. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you will have the opportunity to extend the community day duration through completing special 4-star raids. This has been a common element of the past few community days, and it's going to continue into Litwick Community Day. After Community Day ends, you will see Lampent spawning in 4-star raids in your area, and completing them with a big group will spawn Litwick en masse around that gym. This will be a great way for you to collect a bunch more XL candy after the Community Day hours, so do not miss out on it. Overall, this is going to be one of the better community days this year, and probably for the past few years. I mentioned in a previous video that Niantic has been fumbling the ball when it comes to community days, and I have to eat my words now because this is definitely a really good one. I did say in that video that my opinion could change with a Litwick community day, and that is definitely true because my excitement for this community day can't be understated. I mean, Niantic really went all out with this one. I'm specifically happy about the exclusive move that Chandelure is getting. There were plenty of instances in the past where the Community Day move is a lackluster one for the spotlighted Pokemon, where it is specifically for PvP or is an off-type move. The fact that Poltergeist is a ghost-type attack is already a huge step in the right direction, even if it's possibly not the best move for Chandelure. Let me explain. One thing that Niantic has done right with Community Days this year was of course the exclusive moves that they introduced. While most of those moves weren't enough to elevate some of those Community Day spotlighted Pokemon to top tier levels, the fact that those moves now exist for other Pokemon to get is pretty good. The most notable example is of course Rollout, as once it was added into the move pool for certain Pokemon, they suddenly became some of the best in the Great League. We also saw some drastic improvements to some Pokemon through their Community Day move, like Brutal Swing for Hydreigon. This move elevated it to become the best non-mega, non-shadow dark-type attacker, much to the degree that Meteor Mash elevated Metagross. Something like this can't be ignored when discussing the quality of this year's Community Days. But yeah, even though we don't know what the exact stats are for Poltergeist, the fact that it is a high damage move means it will likely be a good one. Of course, Chandelure already comes with a very powerful move before this Community Day, specifically Shadow Ball, but Poltergeist could be a very good second charge attack or simply a better move. It will all depend on the energy cost, animation time, and whether or not there are any buffs or debuffs when you use it. If it ends up becoming a clone of Blizzard, it may not be an improvement for Chandelure. It would essentially be like what Draco Meteor was for Dragonite, as it was weaker than what was already available. But even if Poltergeist ends up being weaker than Shadow Ball in terms of damage per second, it could still be a phenomenal move for other Ghost-type Pokemon that are in need of a better charge attack. There's just a lot of possibilities whenever Niantic introduces a new move like this, and it just increases the excitement behind the Community Day itself. As much as I would like to see every single Community Day be as hype as Litwick, I am totally aware that it is unrealistic that they will all be this good. I do think Niantic should take this particular Community Day as a standard to meet so that we have better and better Community Days each month. Even if the spotlighted Pokemon is not as good as Litwick, they should at least try to pick one that is equally as hyped. But yeah, regardless, Litwick Community Day is coming, and it is by far going to be one of the best we will have in a while, so make sure you free up your schedule for Saturday, October 15th, because you will definitely not want to miss out on it. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know what you think about Litwick Community Day in the comments down below. Are you excited for shiny Litwick? What do you predict will be the final stats for Poltergeist? Share your thoughts and let's have a great discussion. And if you ended up enjoying this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support my channel in any way, big or small, then be sure to check out the links in the description below. For all my patrons, they get a permanent spot on my in-game friends list. So if you want to interact with me in some way, like with remote raids, then do consider becoming a patron on my Patreon. But yeah, that's going to be it. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.